earlier saying that, I don't like waiting on people, but I'm just speaking honestly. Thank you for joining us again. We're about to go live. One of the biggest things that William S. Stevens was afraid of was people speaking the truth that went to this fake flight attendant school. Thank you for joining me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Kim. I went to the Airline Academy in 2014. I think the Airline Academy is such a scam. I would say that the Airline Academy whole scheme is probably the number one scam in America right now.
Wait a minute, let me spray some Febreze, man. I gotta drain the swamp up high.
Yep. And these people are probably they're really slick operators, and they're into everything. And I think we're going to be able to give you some really good information today. And if you're looking for a flight attendant school to go to, we're going to tell you at least, I don't know, maybe not 1 million reasons not to go to the Airline Academy, but it might be 999.99.
Yeah.
That's the Airline Academy, they never give whole numbers. It's always not 1 million. It's not 7,000. It's 999,999 or something like that. They never give whole numbers. They try to make you feel like you're getting a deal. But how you doing today, Stacy?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm just sitting on here telling people what to look out for when it comes to becoming a flight attendant in the aviation industry. And
I admire you for that. I really do. I really do. Thank you for your help and standing up against this education fraud that's going on in America and throughout America. Because to what I understand, the Airline Academy is a part of some different schemes that are going on even abroad. So, this is a very serious situation, and thank you so much for bringing this out into the light and trying to warn people. I hope that I can help out in some way too.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. I don't want to get all biblical on you on this Sunday afternoon, but
why not? You might be able to teach Cynthia a thing or two. She claims to be some kind of person that has studied religious studies, but whenever you twist the word of God, I think it says somewhere in there that anybody that changes my word, anybody that takes out any of my wording, that they're in a lot of trouble. And that's what hypocrites do, I guess. There's one thing about being somebody who loves God that hasn't even opened up the Bible. I would rather be around somebody that tries to be a good person, but these people are not good, and they try to pretend. They use God's word as a cover in order to solicit to people a program and steal money from people in different ways. And that, to me, is scum of the earth. And you don't use God's name to steal money from people.
No, you don't. And you don't hide underneath other organizations to hide your money laundering.
Mm-hmm. Like the LGBT.
Yeah. If anyone knows me, Kim, I've shared this with you. I once was a lesbian at one time, and this was before I went to the Airline Academy. I changed my life in different ways. So you want to talk about the rainbow, Cynthia? I have a lot of people that I am, very close to in those communities. And, you want to talk about judging. Okay. The number one thing that you did was judge other people in order to submarine them when they found out what you were doing. And that's what that's what you did. And that's what the rest of you did to me. You were bullied in the class too, right, Kim?
Yes, I was. And my daughter went to the program, and she was bullied too by Jill Stevens and Maria Nicholson and Vanessa Van Dogen and Connie Campbell and Jennifer Simso, the whole gang racketeers. They're all bulliers. They use intimidation and humiliation and threats. Oh, and Kathy Tidwell. I forgot about her.
Oh
Kathy
man,
Stanford
please don't get
Tidwell.
me started on that lady, man. She has no right to even sit there and put her face on the internet and claim to be a flight attendant and try to help people get employment after what she did to me and submarine me. Because, you know, after I found out what was going on, while I was, you know, still trying to get a job in the aviation industry, after I was submarined for using, and I'm going to hold this up real quick, this fake diploma. Okay.
Why don't you read it, Stacy? Read it from the top.
All right, let me put my magic glasses on, y'all.
Okay. Now you're styling.
The Airline Academy testifies that Stacy Kennedy has successfully completed the academic and training requirements as set forth by the Academy's Board of Advisors, along with President, and thereby presented with a certificate of graduation. What the heck is a certificate of graduation, though?
What is a certificate of graduation?
Y'all can read it.
Well, is there any kind of stamp on there from the FAA?
No.
Is there any kind of stamp on there from the Department of Education?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. So basically, it's just like a piece of paper from Walmart?
Pretty much.
Well, you know, right here, I've got a Florida statute, 1009, that's 1009. And it says underneath statute 1009.980, it talks about what eligible educational institution means. I mean, you know, if you don't know very much about the FAA or the DOE, that's the way that I didn't know nothing about the FAA. I knew a little bit about the DOE, Department of Education, but very few people know about the Federal Aviation Administration or its regulations. But the Department of Education has to approve programs in order for them to be licensed or accredited.
Right.
So in this case with the Airline Academy, they are not a licensed school that's been approved by the Department of Education.
Wait a minute. Let me play the opposite side, because, you know, there's always, you know, we didn't do anything, you know, like Cynthia claims to say in all of her rebuttal statements. How do you know this, Kim?
Well, you know, whenever I contacted the Department of Education, and I have gotten documents from the Department of Education, and you can even find them yourself, that by using that World Wide Web that the Airline Academy has used to advertise on, it states in there, I'll tell you a really good place to look is the IRS. Let's just use that for an example. According to the IRS, if you want to get any kind of tax education benefits on your personal income tax, and you want to go to school and you want to use that education benefit as a tax write-off on personal income tax, a school has to be an accredited school by the IRS. If it's accredited by the Department of Education, then it's usually accredited by the IRS. Well, go to the IRS registry of accredited schools and look up the Airline Academy. They're not in there. There's no results. These people are not an accredited school. But let me go back to the statute right here real quick, and then we'll go back to the IRS. It states that an eligible educational institution means an institution of higher education that qualifies under the statute 529 of the Internal Revenue Code as an eligible educational institution. Now, this code means that they have been, their program is regulated. Their program has been approved by the Department of Education. That means that with these credentials, you should be able to go out and get a good job.
Right.
That's all. That's what we're all working for, right?
Right.
I mean, we want to go out here to get educated or learn a skill in order to, and have that document to go and say, hey, this is what I've learned. And this is an accredited school that I went to, and I had some official people that were licensed and accredited and that have been authorized through the Department of Education to teach me this.
Right.
And therefore, the IRS will approve it, because the IRS don't want you to get ripped off either. They want you to go to eligible, accredited, authorized, licensed schools.
Well, I mean, let me interrupt you for just a second, though. It's supposed to be and designed for people to be able to get out of poverty situations. And, I mean, that's what these programs were created for in the in these departments, and they were supposed to be regulated. But because it was not regulated,
no way, by no one.
I mean, these people have been able to steal people's identity, bully them.
We'll get to that in a second. Let me go back to the IRS.
Okay.
And through firsthand experience, I guess you too, Stacy. This gang of people, this scheme, this Airline Academy fake school, or whatever you want to call it, it's a racket. It's a racketeer organized crime syndicate. It is a degree mill. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people have heard that term. A degree mill is a fake school, and they offer accreditations that are not real. They don't have the license to teach, and so everything's really, manipulated by ads and, con artist recruiters. And that's kind of, it's pretty much what the Airline Academy has done, and worse. But they have been giving out fake 1098T forms that are supposed to be used from departments of higher education. If you went to a real school, a real authorized licensed school, they would give you a form saying that you went to that school that year, and they will have the amount that you paid or whatever, the amount that you can use on your personal income tax. It's called a 1098T. There's probably a lot of people that's listening to me now that knows what that is. And then you take that and you put that with your income tax every year. And
it is tax time right now, right?
You get credit for it. Well, the Airline Academy sent me a fake 1098T.
Wow.
And my daughter.
How do you know this?
Because I went to the IRS. I went to some officials at the IRS. I've got documentation that's stating that I have no 1098T underneath the name of the Airline Academy on record.
Really?
So I got audited. I got audited from the IRS.
Dang, that's strange. I got audited too.
Okay, so see, that's that. Whenever the IRS finds out that a school is operating under false credentials, they start flagging people who have these 1098Ts, right?
Right.
Well, let's go back even one step back.
Okay.
One of the reasons why I went to this scam, I didn't know it was a scam at the time, but how I got involved in this awful gang, a group of people that are so street people, evil. These people are evil. They're just thieves. I believed in my so-called recruiter that was a con artist. Her name was Sharon Rowe. And when she was showing me this recruiter manual, she circled the fact that I would get a tax education benefit for going to this school. So she was selling me the program on the fact of their solicitation goes something like this: a lifetime job placement. You're going to get a job. You can train in as flight attendant, certifications in flight attending. You're going to get the benefits, federal benefits, along with the federal job of being a flight attendant, because being a flight attendant is a federal job.
You can't see me right now, but I'm shaking my head and going, none of this is true from them. They cannot do any of that.
No, they can't. So, and then they offer the IRS tax education breaks. They offer the certified training and certifications and so forth, but none of it is real. And we have the documents to show that. And that's what I find to be very the one thing that I found whenever I was trying to find out how I got ripped off was the fact that these people operate between the Department of Education appearing as if they're a real school, and they're not, and they try to appear as if they're a real aviation school, and they're not. And
Right.
They're not licensed by the Department of Education. They're not accredited.
And all you got to do,
licensed.
I'm going to interrupt again because it needs to be said. All you have to do is call the Department of Education, whatever state that you're in, because they're advertising this abroad, even on the internet, and ask questions. I love to ask questions, and I love to inform people. Me and Kim, a lot of things I wouldn't know without her, and a lot of things she wouldn't know without me. And that's what we're here for, is to help educate people.
There's a lot of other students that have spoken out
against
people, and we choose to not, say what their names are for their privacy, to protect them.
Right.
Because the Airline Academy is involved in a lot of different avenues of crime. This fake school is just one thing these people are doing. They're involved in all kinds of different shenanigans, as you want to call it, and they can be very dangerous. And we know, because we chose to step out and try to expose these people, and on the behalf of thousands of students, we've been trying to get this into the right hands. But the most important thing that we're trying to do is let people know about it. Because if we can educate people on what they see, we were not people that knew when you saw FAA regulations of 65 and 61, you think, okay, boy, that looks official. Mm-hmm. That looks real. When really this is in their advertising. They use the credentials of being accredited with bar 65, bar 61. If you have that anywhere around you, if you could show that on your screen, their credentials out of the recruiter manual, that would be helpful for us right now, if you could find that. But if you can't, that's okay.
No, I got some documents.
We are talking about a federal aviation regulation. FAR 65 is dispatching. Now, Stacy.
Yes.
Did you go to the Airline Academy? Was you recruited to be a dispatcher?
No.
Was anything ever mentioned to you about being a dispatcher?
Negative.
Was anything ever mentioned to you about being a pilot?
No.
Whenever you got recruited, was you getting recruited to be a person to work in customer service?
No, I was going to the Airline Academy because I was going to get hired at JetBlue.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's funny, because that's what they told me. That's what Sharon Rowe told me.
Imagine that. The lies and the deception.
That's right. So what we're dealing here with is they preyed on our totally innocent ignorance of any kind of FAA rules and regulations. So when you're talking about these statutes, or you're talking about the rules that they have to go by, not many people know what rules these people have to go by. The FAA is very compartmentalized, and you cannot use an aviation pilot certification to train flight attending. And you can't use a dispatcher certification to train pilot training. You can't use dispatching certification to train a flight attendant, because, drum roll, the only airlines that are licensed by the FAA can provide anybody with a 14 CFR 121 license as a flight attendant. It has to be authorized and provided to you from the FAA.
There you have it, folks. Cynthia, we got the fact checkers.
The Airline Academy knew at all times that they did not have that specific certification authorization to offer anything about any kind of flight attendant training. Now, their name is very deceptive, the Airline Academy.
I agree.
Well, the Airline Academy is not an airline.
Well, I meant not just that, Kim. I meant the thing of it is JetBlue was in the pamphlets and telling us that we were going to.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because the Airline Academy was using JetBlue and other various airlines as a cover to make it appear as if they were in the ring, as if they could provide you the certification, and or you were going to get your certification through JetBlue. And JetBlue they have had a part in this scam since the beginning of when they opened up their little JetBlue U in Orlando at the airport. They had a part in the scam by providing part of the program at the Airline Academy. So they were all in it.
Yeah.
And along with a few other various airlines have been a part of the Airline Academy scam. The Airline Academy, conspired with JetBlue to create some ads that appeared real. They were approved, and they were supplying the Airline Academy with ads. Even their first chapter of their program book was dedicated to JetBlue.
Yeah, I know. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want to read a part of a letter that was sent to me as a threat from Cynthia and her attorney real quick.
Oh, hold on, because let's do some background work on that real quick. You did you've been doing trying to expose the fraud of the Airline Academy now for a little while. And yeah. Cynthia Fisher Stevens, that is the treasurer of the Airline Academy, the daughter and considered one of the owners of the Airline Academy, and she's considered to be the vice president of the Airline Academy. She has written letters and authorized advertising and solicitation that the recruiters use, which are just high-powered con artists. They have conspired all this advertising and to lure people in to a program that is not real. Cynthia Fisher is at the head of this, along with Jill Micker Stevens and William Frank Stevens, who are claimed to be the owners, president, CEO, whatever you want to call them.
Hey, you want to ask?
Family-run racketeer.
You want to ask them where your certified flight attendant certification is? Because I know you haven't had a chance to get on here and say that, but go ahead and ask them.
Where is my certification in flight attending? I want to know where my 14 CFR 121 license to be a flight attendant is. I didn't sign up for dispatching, and I surely didn't sign up for pilot training.
Neither did I.
And I didn't sign up for any kind of customer service, although you manipulated the contracts to make it appear as if that was included. What the heck? You don't need any kind of certification for customer service. Anybody, you could work at Walmart and be customer service.
Oh my gosh, I worked for Walmart like 10 years. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so what's where's my certification in flight attending? Where is I want to know where your credentials are.
I would like to too, because that's a lot of money. How much money did you pay to go to this fake flight attendant school, Kim?
I lost $14,000, but I like to say, on the behalf of Cynthia Fisher Stevens and Jillian Micker Stevens and their ad, their counsel on their ad committee, I like to say $6,999.99.
That's funny.
So it would be $13,999.99, because these people operate on trying to make their advertising appear real and that you're getting a deal, when really they're sending you down off a cliff, and they're going to take all your savings because they believe that they need your money more than you do. And that's why they prey on high schools and student lists, and they try to gather up hardworking parents.
Wait a minute, but I said this in my earlier video. Hold on, let me interrupt you for a second. I said this in my earlier video, and this just confirms it. I'm not the only one that knows this stuff, okay? This isn't something that we just came up with and we can prove. for facts. Tell them where they can find this information, Kim.
Well, you're going to have to be. So I would first, if you want to go to Airline Academy, go to the IRS. Try to find the Airline Academy and the IRS accredited schools for higher education. Then go to the Department of Education, go to the registrar and pull up, see if you can find the Airline Academy, and you can't. And then I would, check the FAA to see if they are an accredited school by the FAA, and they're not. They are not a flight attendant school that's approved by the Federal Aviation Administration. And the reason why is because only authorized airlines can provide flight attendant training and certification and are licensed to be a flight attendant. Now, if you did all that, that would be a good place to start.
Right.
But what Stacey Kennedy has done, is she has tried to reveal the truth about everything that we're talking about. And people like Cynthia Fisher-Stevens, along with her little minions, have been trying to submarine her by just her trying to expose the truth about this scam. Now, the idea that these people, it's okay for them to rip us off, but it's not okay for us to say that we've been ripped off, is wrong.
Yeah, it is.
And they have done everything that they can, or it's ongoing. So they're still trying to continue to suppress anybody from standing up and trying to tell the truth. But I'm telling you right now, if you've been ripped off by the Airline Academy, keep going. Keep trying to expose the truth. Get on anything you can, your Facebook, your Twitter, your contact your local officials, contact your Attorney General's office, contact the Federal Trade Commission. Just put in a complaint, because sooner or later somebody will wake up and address the problem. But do something for your own sanity, because if you don't say something, you will continue on. These people will continue on doing what they're doing. And it's not just the Airline Academy. It's all kind of scammers out here. And if we don't stand up against scammers, then we're going to continue on getting ripped off with our education, people stealing our personal identification information wrongfully, like it's okay. I mean, we have to stand up. So Stacey Kennedy got a letter in the mail just because she stood up. She got a letter in the mail from Cynthia Fisher's attorney, some attorney that she hired to write a hate letter, or a threatening letter to Stacey Kennedy, saying that they were going to sue her for defamation. Let me say, as long as you're telling the truth, that's not defamation. And, it's okay for the Airline Academy. They have used Stacey Kennedy's picture on their social media, advertising a scam. They have used information about her and got into her personal information, and have been using pictures of her and targeting her. Along with me, I've been targeted too. But I'm speaking about this letter right here. I mean, we've been messed with from these people for several years now. So,
do you want me to read some of the letter?
I would like for you to read that letter from Cynthia Fisher's so-called an attorney that she got to write this letter. I want everybody to go look this attorney up, because I want y'all to see what this attorney looks like. And I want y'all to understand that Cynthia Fisher, I want you to go look up LinkedIn and look up Cynthia Fisher-Stevens and see, I know that I know personally that the LinkedIn that I've seen when I first went to the Airline Academy, Cynthia Fisher-Stevens never even mentioned that she was even a part of the Airline Academy.
I wonder why.
I wonder why too. Maybe it's because it was an admission of guilt that she knew that she was working for a scam and that she owned a scam.
Well, not just that though. It's deeper than that. And her family members are related to this. And this has been going on for 20 years?
Yeah, at least. They claim longer, and that's their putting a nail in their coffin themselves, because what they have done is they use the original owner's history and credentials in order to sell their program. And technically that's illegal. And I think that that's even called false impersonation.
Oh, yeah. Let me show the pin real quick that William F. Stevens gave me. Lance Shirtliff.
I want you to read that letter, but we could get back to false impersonation after you get done with your letter.
Above, what is it? Above and beyond. We go above and beyond. Drain the swamp up high is what I do. So let's talk about the letter. All right. Dear Miss Kennedy, I have the pleasure of representing William Stevens and the Airline Academy. It has come to my client's attention that you are making defamatory statements about them on social media and the internet. On TikTok and Instagram, you have published numerous videos in which you falsely claim the Airline Academy is a fake school. No, I don't falsely claim anything because I've done my homework, Cynthia. You are not a school. Okay? As I continue. All right. Your videos contain other false statements, including a claim the Airline Academy stole your identity. Yes, you did. By falsely misrepresenting yourself, Lance Shirtliff, who was a high-powered paid recruiter, to solicit this to my parents' home. Okay? And that right there is an invasion of privacy.
Oh, it's much more than that. Much more. Go ahead. Finish the letter. This is interesting.
Okay. Y'all get your popcorn and, your coffee, because this is eye-opening. Okay. So at defaulter.com, you posted a review about my clients, claiming the Airline Academy is a fraud. I don't have to claim it. They are.
Hey, you know what, sister? If that's what happened to you, if you got ripped off, I think it's your right underneath the Constitution for you to say what happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, I can prove it. This is my story, and this is based off of my experience and your experience. I mean,
you go, girl.
These things are, going on with other students. This isn't just about me, though, okay? Because I'm pretty sure other people are afraid to stand up and say anything. But right now, I didn't sign up for this. I want everyone to understand this, okay? I'm a pretty quiet person, and I sometimes slip the tongue and say a cuss word every now and then, but that's when I get frustrated. I mean, who don't? But I'm also respectful to other people, and I tell the truth. But this...
Okay, go ahead and finish the letter. I got something I want to say about that. Go ahead.
This letter... please find attached as Exhibit A list of links to your TikTok and Instagram videos, as well as your review at defaulters.com, containing false statements about my clients. Your false statements about my clients reference in Exhibit A and rises to the level of defamation under Florida law. Now, Exhibit A is what he is referring to right here.
And what is it? What's that statute? What is that statute? I want to know what kind of law they know. What kind of law they're using. Is it real estate law?
I don't know. I'll tell you the law he used, though.
Go ahead.
In Florida, defamation consists of the following 5 elements. Number 1, publication. 2, falsity. 3, actor must act with knowledge or reckless disregard as to falsify on a matter concerning a public official, or at least negligently on a matter concerning a private person. And this is number 4, actual damages in statements must be defamatory. Jews for Jesus, Inc. versus RAP 997-202D 10098-1106, Florida Statute 2008.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that falsicity real quick under defamation of character. Falsicity is when you falsify documents that you submit into the state departments or the federal departments in order to claim any kind of social welfare funding that you don't deserve. I think that's called falsicity.
Yeah.
I believe that they submitted in, according to your documents that you retrieved from the Workforce Department of Tampa, that why don't you get those documents out? Let's talk about falsicity real quick. These are state documents that the Airline Academy filled out applications in order to get approved for state funding, which is backed up by federal funds.
I don't want to pull those documents out. And the reason why, my identity has already been stolen anyway. And for those shysters to even be on here and try to get any more information off of me of what they've already got, no.
No, that's okay. Then we could talk about it without your documents because, I mean, you know, this is basically what is going on here is that the Airline Academy submitted in letters to prove that they were an accredited school that could provide a certification in flight attendant to these students or these people, civilians that were going through social welfare in order to get any kind of education funds in order to participate or enroll in the Airline Academy. Well, the fact of the matter is that they were basically falsifying their documents, stating that they were an airline or that they were a aviation school, when they are using the original owner's history and background. Whenever William F. Stevens took over the Airline Academy in '96, the dude that owned the company, Nino Cynthia, he had a aviation school, but it got closed down. And he was pushing in his 80s. He was getting up in years.
Aren't you getting old, William F. Stevens? Man, I want my certification before you knock off.
So William F. Stevens went out and got a certification in dispatching in order to use it in advertising to make it appear as if he was in the ring of the FAA in order to solicit a fake flight attendant program. Because according to the FAA, William F. Stevens had not even, this was back in 2015, 16, he hadn't even taught a dispatching class in years. So, in order to advertise truthfully, they want to talk about falsicity and that you don't have a right to speak out. These people have not, for one thing, this is not an airline, and only airlines can provide anyone with an approved, authorized FAA license in flight attending. The Airline Academy is not an airline. The Airline Academy is not a school that's approved by the Department of Education. Now, if that's false, then she should know about falsicity. She should know about a fraudulent information, but evidently her attorney didn't take the time to do his research on this, on these people.
But can I say something real quick?
He didn't take the time to do his research on the Airline Academy and what this woman was saying was right or wrong. He was just taking her word for it.
Yeah.
Because if he searched out those three avenues that we talked about earlier.
Put the magic glasses on.
Yeah, and if he just did a little research on their background and on their accreditation, he would see that this school is not accredited. So basically, their attorney, what was his name?
Adam Warren Law, PLLC.
Where's it located?
444 Seabreeze Boulevard, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay. So, and how long has he been operating?
I don't know, like 5-6 years.
So the idea is that if he had done if he spent 10 minutes, all he had to do is go look for their accreditations before he wrote this letter.
Yeah, so this is true.
He would see that these people are not accredited in any way. Now, if Cynthia Fisher wants to flash around an aviation exemption, well, let's talk about that for a minute. They keep mentioning that. You can't operate under the credentials of another airline to try to solicit a flight attendant program. Why, Stacy? Why? Because every time you go, even if you're a flight attendant, like if Kathy Tidwell, she's a flight attendant for Delta. She's a so-called job placement director for this scam. She moonlights at the Airline Academy, making real cash on the side.
Let me answer your question.
Hourly.
Let me answer your
hang on. Hold on, not yet. Hang on, let me finish. Well, I got the thought in my brain. You know, if she was to try to go get a job at American Airlines, she would have to be recertified, right, Stacy? Now,
absolutely.
You know this.
Yeah.
Explain why.
Well, not every airline is the same, and they all have different operation procedures, and it's for security reasons. Is to protect our airlines, you know, in the United States and abroad, that we use to keep terrorists and things like that from, you know, submarining people on the airlines. Because they, you know, if you know anything about, you know, 9/11, I'm just not going to go there. But, you know, for example, how, you know, the planes were, you know, taken over and things like that. They had to redo everything. And, you know, you weren't supposed to divulge, you know, certain secrets about an airline, because when you would go and get a job, for example, because I was with PSA Airlines, I had to sign affidavits that I could not tell any of their trade secrets, because it is for their own protection in case of an emergency. Because when you're on a airline or airplane, airport, wherever you're at, there's different procedures you have to go through, and it's supposed to be regulated. And the flight attendants are supposed to be regulated by the airlines that they work for. And once you sign that affidavit and you get hired by the airline, you're supposed to keep that like the Bible. Your flight attendant manual is like the Bible, okay? And I was told this specifically because if I ever lost it, it would be a $10,000 fine and 10 years in prison.
Right.
And I was bullied and intimidated in PSA Airlines during training because...
Okay, so hold on before you go there.
Right.
All right, let's just talk about the facts up to that point.
Okay.
So,
what are you doing? Walking the dog?
Hang on just a second. Give me just a minute.
Okay. But while we're waiting on her, I'll finish some of this stuff on here. It says first your
go ahead and finish the letter.
Yeah. First, your TikTok and Instagram videos about the Airline Academy constitute a publication. Second, your statements that the Airline Academy is a fake school is false. Really? Okay, let's call the Department of Education in Tallahassee, Florida, and ask them. And my publication, how can you say that when you publicized me and you're advertising without my permission? Crickets? Simso, didn't you create your own YouTube to yeah.
I'm back.
Oh, welcome back.
Did you finish the letter?
Oh, I was in the middle of it.
Okay, go right ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And the Airline Academy has excellent reputation. And it was established in 1972 and has 24 years of continuous operation at the Daytona Beach International Airport. It has an A+ rating with a Better Business Bureau. Now, let me stop for just a second. Let's go back for just a minute. I sent in a complaint to the Better Business Bureau, and didn't you as well, Kim?
Yes, and it's kind of funny that they're not there no more.
Okay. And when I sent my complaint in, they used pictures from my very social media to rebuttal anything. But like I stated before in some of my other, videos, This was all premeditated. So
Absolutely.
by them premeditating this, because they give you cameras when you get there, and they say, oh, take lots of pictures. So they can turn around and blackmail you with it. And that's
Absolutely.
what they did to us.
Yes, that's what they do.
So
the very pictures that they're taking of you during the program, they make it sound like it's fun, that they're using them for their, you still believe that you're going to be a flight attendant and that they can provide you jobs and all this. And so you're allowing them to take pictures and things of you because you believe that this is a fun, real thing. Whenever at the end, basically after they've obtained, they have obtained your personal identification information and your bank account information.
And when she says that, we're talking about your passport. We're talking about 10 years of your addresses, banking information.
They're obtaining all this personal identification information under false pretenses, where they are posing as an airline and approved, authorized FAA employees such as pilots or flight attendants, in order to promise you a flight attendant program that doesn't exist, promise you federal, which is a federal job, federal benefits to go along with it, the lifetime job in place employment, IRS tax education breaks, certifications and job training that doesn't exist. And I do believe, since this attorney is, talking about all these, rules about defamation.
Right.
Well, to me, defamation is where they're using your Facebook pictures, your pictures of you in that classroom for their scam. Like you are approving that, like you are approving that scam.
I didn't approve anything.
That you're saying that you believe this is a real school, and that's totally opposite of what you believe. And so talking about defamation of character, defamation, I mean, let's go back to 18 statutes of the U.S. Statutes of 912, false impersonation of a federal agent or an agency. The Airline Academy is pretending to be an airline. They're using their name to lure people into a program. They even have their classes at the Daytona Beach Airport. I mean,
and I'm going to show the diploma again because it has airline on the top of it.
Sure, they have been posing as an airline. William F. Stevens, he took over this company, the Airline Academy, from this man, Nino Cynthia, and he even uses the original owner's credentials and history in the recruiter manual. It has nothing to do with Bill Stevens. He doesn't even use he's a shyster. He's a con artist. He's a gambler. He doesn't even use his own credentials in his advertising. Now, and I find that to be very interesting. They're saying that they've been operating for 24 years. Well, that's funny. I think the last time I looked at their advertising, they're saying they've been operating for 50 years. Well, what is it? Is it 24? Is it 12? Is it 20? Is it 40?
Don't you love that how they just think they can just change things and nobody's not going to call them out on it?
Yeah, these are everything. When these people open up their mouth, it's all a lie. Every one of them. I have a letter right here from Jennifer Simso. Would you like for me to read it?
Oh, really?
Well, it's a letter written to you. It's about your WIA social welfare funding.
Sure, go ahead and read it.
Well, we're talking about, they want to talk about defamation. I mean, these people have obtained state funding, social welfare money that's backed up by federal funds that is taxpayer dollars wrongfully, using falsified applications, statements, and misstatements on applications in order to get approved for a program that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Now, I think that they're so-called, what was his name? Warren, what was his first name?
Adam Warren Law, PLLC.
Yeah, I think that he needs to do his background check on these people or this person or Cynthia Fisher or whatever, whoever he's representing, and he needs to find out their own credentials.
I got a question. Hold on a minute. You just put a light bulb in my head. William S. Stevens, how can you hold a dispatcher certification with a DUI? And there are people that don't even have a DUI, and you're still involved in the aviation industry. Where is the justice in that? Let's tell the people the truth.
Well, whenever you've got connections at the top, like some of the judges in Volusia County, and you claim to rub elbows and go to all the little parties and stuff with people in the aviation field, you could get people to approve you for things that you wouldn't get approved for if they knew that you were just a street rat. And these people are really good at being con artists, so they are really good. I suggest for everybody to go look up Big Bertha. She was a con artist that was a well-known con artist back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. There are Madoff. What was his name? Bernie Madoff. There's several con artists that through the history of time that have been so good at what they do, ripping people off.
Yeah.
That, I think that these people should be put in the history books of being the one of the top-notch con artists operating underneath FAA and Department of Education. They have extorted millions of dollars from thousands of people. But
the number one flight attendant school scam in the world.
Yes, it is. And they got different locations under different names throughout America and abroad. But right here, here's a letter from Jennifer Simso, who pretended to be a student manager over the student director of the Airline Academy. Let's get this straight. Jennifer Simso is not accredited or authorized through the Department of Education to be anything. She doesn't work for the FAA. She is not an authorized, approved employee by the Federal Aviation Administration. She's not authorized or licensed or certified through the Department of Education for nothing. This person is operating as student services or manager of student services, and she is going back and forth using the internet, through emails, through the postal service. She is handling people's social security numbers, their personal identification information, bank account information, credit card information. These people are aiding and abetting in the scheme to defraud the U.S. And Jennifer Simso is one of them. Yeah. And her real name is Jennifer DeSargano Simso. Now, a lot of these people who work for the Airline Academy go under aliases. Mm-hmm. And they try to, respell their name and stuff to make it appear as if, to make it a little bit harder to find them. And Jennifer Simso is one of them. But and she states, this is a letter to Stacy, or from Stacy, to, let's see.
I can't see what she's doing, so we're just communicating through telephone now.
Okay, this is a letter from Jennifer Simso. I'm sorry. It says jsimso@theairlineacademy.com. To whom it may concern, this email is to inform you that the total cost of Stacy Kennedy's tuition is $6,975. Our records indicate that Stacy made a payment of $595 and received a $100 enrollment scholarship.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, a payment was received from WIA, W-I-A, which is a workforce department that it works under the social welfare services to try to help low-income people to re-educate themselves to get good jobs.
Right.
It's called the WIA department.
Right.
Or in some cases, WIAO. So a payment was received from WIA for the amount of $3,500. The remaining tuition balance due on her account after the $3,500 or $3,500 payment was applied was $2,780. Should you need more information, please feel free to contact me at 1-800-798-0202. Thank you, Jennifer Simso, Student Services. Now, this is very important because every dollar that you heard of is taxpayer dollars. Every dollar, the $6,975 is taxpayer dollars. That, remember, tax dollars comes from the federal IRS government. They distribute money to different organizations, such as education, in order for people to get re-educated so they can get out here and make money. So the Airline Academy...
I'm just going to show a real quick part of this document, just so that I can show a receipt. This right here. It says it's Workforce Alliance. That is the agency that we're talking about. And there's other agencies also that they're using wrongfully. And
what they did was they manipulated her paperwork at the WIA Workforce Department. And Lance Shurtleff would tell Stacey Kennedy, don't worry about that, I'll fill that out for you.
Yeah, because you can look on there. There's like corrections made on it in different ink colors.
So she would basically sign the documents believing that this FAA-approved employee that was supposed to be a federal employee, that appeared to be a federal employee, she relied totally and trusted in this man. His name was Lance Shurtleff, which is a high-powered recruiter con artist from the Airline Academy, operating in South Florida around the Tampa Bay area. She relied totally on his supposed his knowledge and his ability to work for the FAA in order to fill out her paperwork, in order to help her in enrolling in this so-called flight attendant school called the Airline Academy. Well, whenever she received the documents from the WIA Workforce Department, because she inquired in getting a copy of her documents, because after she got ripped off, she didn't even understand. Stacey Kennedy didn't realize what had happened to her until she had found me. And that's a story, in itself. Maybe we can get to that in a few minutes, but she
yeah, the swamp is deep up high.
She applied for a copy of all of her documents and the application that the Airline Academy used in order to get approved for federal funding for her money. And in the documents, it was very interesting because she wasn't going to just get one certification in flight attending. She was supposed to get 3. One in pilot training, and one in customer service, and one in flight attending.
Oh, I'm just going over some of the tests that they had me send through the U.S. Postal Service. That's how they were doing that, right, Kim?
Well, that was just, part of the program was through the mail. And also we sent payments through the mail. We were being notified. They used the U.S. Postal Service and the internet in order to conduct their business, and telephone. So, I think that this is all included in money wire fraud. But anyways, we'll get back to that in a minute too.
Okay.
But here's the document right here that is it's part of Stacey Kennedy's documents for her WIA funding, our taxpayer dollars, that was given under false pretenses to the Airline Academy in order for her to get approved for so-called flight attendant training whenever she got nothing. She got nothing. And another instance of this proof that we have is from, it says it's got her social security number on it. Remember, our social security numbers were being passed through. All these people have it. These street people. These are street rats. This is a scheme. This is a syndicate.
So what does it mean when somebody has access to your social security number?
Absolutely. They have access to our credit card information, our passport information, our driver's license information. These are street rats. These are gangsters. These are people that have obtained our identities under false pretenses, acting as a federal agency or an agent. Now, let's go back to this document. It says employment goal. Now, this is just one of them. This is how contradicting her WIA workforce paperwork was. This is what Lance Shurtleff would tell the workforce department in order to appear as if they were accredited to offer a certification that Stacy could go out and get a job with. It says employment goal, job title. You're not going to believe this. Customer service representation. Hours that you were going to be putting into this. It was going to take you 40 hours. Now you were looking for a 40-hour-a-week job that you were hoping to get. I guess at the time, you were hoping to get around $12 an hour or whatever. And this was written on your documents. Now, to my knowledge, I believe the Airline Academy uses it in their advertising to try to cover up, try to make it look like it's not so out there. You're going to be a flight attendant. They use the word flight attendant customer service. Right?
Right. But the thing of it is, though, is, you can't do that whenever you're filling out documents, and you have to be clear and, concise of what it is you're stating that you're going to be running, especially when it comes to the education portion. And getting federal grants and federal funded money. Because if you're submitting documents that are falsified, Cynthia, you're in a lot of trouble, lady.
Well, what they were doing was the Airline Academy was, like I told you, they submitted in documentation to appear as if they were a real airline or a real aviation school. Whenever, JetBlue Aviation School across the street from the Airline Academy, that's a sister school of the Airline Academy. All right, they train pilot. They do pilot training. Now that's an aviation school. They have a license or certifications in pilot training where they train pilots. Well, that's a little shady too, but that's a whole different story. But the Airline Academy cannot use the Phoenix East Aviation exemption to appear like they are a real school. They cannot use Dino Cynthia, he's not even alive anymore. You cannot use
Lance Shurtleff claims he's not alive anymore. I question everything.
Yeah, so they cannot use another person's credentials in order to appear as if they are accredited to teach flight attending. And let's get this straight. You can't use a pilot license to train flight attending. You cannot use a dispatcher certification to train flight attendants. You have to be an authorized licensed airline in order to get that approval from the FAA for you to have a 14 CFR 121 license to be a flight attendant. And the Airline Academy knew at all times that they could not provide that. So they wanted money. So they went and preyed on low-income people. And I think anybody out there, if you hear this, that you should be quite upset about this.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, you go and
intentionally prey on low-income people of all different race, color. Stacy Kennedy's got all kinds of pictures of these classrooms full of kids. They're from all different backgrounds, all different race, all different color. And the Airline Academy knew it. They knew at all times they could never provide anybody with a flight attendant job. They could never provide you with a job as a flight attendant because they were not an airline. They could not train you or provide you with a certification in flight attendant because they're not an airline. Only airlines can do that. So they knew at all times what they were doing. This was a premeditated scheme. They got with JetBlue because JetBlue had this facility that they built in Orlando called JetBlue U. This is where JetBlue trains its employees. But JetBlue got with the Airline Academy to use their facility and a part of the Airline Academy's program or training program that you would go to, and it makes it appear as if in their ads that you're going to get trained at JetBlue. We have ads that show you're going to get certified at the Airline Academy in Daytona Beach, and then you're going to be certified at the JetBlue U in Orlando. So they use contradicting ads, which is totally against the FTC. I don't care what Jennifer Manurehead says. You cannot use false advertising or false credentials or advertise you got to use true advertising whenever you're advertising something. Okay?
Well, I mean, Jennifer Manurehead would know that, though, being that she is a real estate lawyer.
She's a real estate lawyer. She should know a little bit of law. So the idea is that whenever you are being fronted by a school, you have to go in. First of all, I think I would probably go right straight to the IRS to see if the school is accredited. That's probably the first place I would go. And then after that, I would go to the Department of Education to back that up. Because let me say something. If the IRS doesn't approve, it says right there in the statute I read earlier, if the IRS doesn't approve the school, it's not an accredited school. It's not being regulated by no one. We were literally sitting there. They subjected us into an unsafe environment. They subjected us to these street people that didn't even have any kind of permits to solicit nothing.
Man, these people were criminals and they had access to our information. Come
That's
on.
Right. A lot of these people that were manhandling these students were they were ex-convicts. They had records, and it was just a very unsafe environment.
How was your daughter, though?
So what we did was we went to the Daytona Police Department to report this.
Yeah, we did do that.
So tell them what happened.
Oh my God, man. Let me pull a video up. Can I pull a video up and show it?
Oh my gosh, go for it.
Do you want me to pull the video up? Go ahead and finish talking while I pull the video up.
That'd be great. Yeah, go
Man,
ahead.
these people are going to flip the hell out, you know. Pull the video up. And I've got some language, so this is not kid friendly. This is an adult conversation. And it was based off of my own experience after reporting these people to the Daytona Beach Police Department. And I don't appreciate nothing being done. You know.
Well, but it hasn't been, they did a 1 week investigation.
What?
We just haven't heard anything back from anybody yet. But
Did you just say 1 week?
They've done at least a 1 week investigation on this crime syndicate.
Oh my goodness gracious. Let me find this video.
Well, I'm going to read off your report while you're finding the video, and this is the way it goes.
Okay.
Is it okay if I read your statement?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. I was solicited a flight attendant training school program using JetBlue and the Daytona Beach International Airport. Based off the discovery of evidence, the Airline Academy is not a real school or an airline. Kathy Stanford Tidwell, she acts as the job placement director. She's also an employee for Delta. She threatened me to never say anything about my teacher, Connie Campbell, after witnessing another student being bullied. My identity was stolen by the Airline Academy. Cyber fraud was committed against me by the Airline Academy, along with using my personal Facebook to lie about my report to the Better Business Bureau. Hold on, that's page 1. I was solicited a fake flight attendant school by one of the Airline Academy employees at my parents' home. My social security number and my address, along with my bank account information, was obtained. My recruiter, Lance Shurtleff, along with other things, other people, William Frank Stevens, Jillian Micker Stevens, Cynthia Fisher Stevens, the owners of the Airline Academy, and Jennifer Simso Student Services. The internet was used to obtain my personal information. I was also housed in a rundown hotel called the Sun and Surf Motel in Daytona Beach. And that's the end of it. Now, when you went in there, and I was with you,
right? When
you went in there to report your fraud, you were basically, I was sitting back watching this and mostly because it was like the Daytona Police Department is a circus. I don't know if y'all don't have anything else to do on an off day, you ought to go to the Daytona Police Department because it's like a circus. I mean, it's very entertaining.
That's funny.
The person that was handling this information, he did not seem to be very, anyways, let's put it this way. I observed Stacey Kennedy being provoked to frustrate her in order to make her appear as if she was being over exaggerating or so on. And
well, they do that on purpose so that they can make you seem as if you've lost your mind.
The background of this tape right here, because when Stacey Kennedy was having to lift her voice up, now again, you know, in most offices now you're talking through plexiglass, so you know, you're having to, yes, you have to kind of speak out loud, you know, and so I get that, but this person was literally trying to give Stacey Kennedy a hard way to go. Everything she asked for, they were making up excuses not to help her out. And one of the first things that I recall that this officer said to me and you when we went into this police department was, "You'll never get your money back."
Oh, yeah.
We never even mentioned any money. And it's almost like this police officer was very, he had heard about the Airline Academy before. Maybe he had been addressed about the Airline Academy in the past about people going in there, because he said, "You never get your money back. We never mentioned money." And he says, they didn't steal we said that they obtained our identities. They took our identities, they took our social security numbers. And he said, "Well, they didn't steal your identity." See the words he was using. And I said, "You're right. They obtained our identities under false pretenses." And I really, honestly, I thought I saw his eyes go crossways. I mean, I thought I saw his eyes spinning in the back of his head.
Oh, Mr. Howell.
Realized, a lot of police officers don't know very much law. I mean, they know, like, the basic running a red light and things like that. But when you say something like, okay, all right, I didn't get my purse stolen, but I got my whole life stolen, right?
Found it. I found it, guys. I found it.
But these people were provoking Stacey into getting her riled up, to getting her upset, because they were acting like they didn't understand what was going on. And so listen to this tape. It was very, very interesting. So if you want to go to a circus, go to the Daytona Police Department.
It's trying to load right now. It's running a little slow because they know I'm trying to spit truth on here, because when Stacey speaks up, I speak on behalf of many. Right is right, wrong is wrong, okay? I've always taught my children that right is right, wrong is wrong. And I didn't like being bullied
whenever you're dealing with the police department. I find that we knew, we kind of had a feeling, because I don't know about you, but when I went to the Airline Academy, I went right after you did. But
they're slowing it down, as you can see.
Maria Nicholson and Connie Campbell was going around with some kind of rumor around our class that William F. Stevens was best buddies with the chief of police in town. And, I at the time, I didn't think much about it. I thought, well, big deal. I've got friends in high places too, but I thought, big deal.
Right.
But why would they be saying that? And that was to intimidate anybody from going to the police about this situation.
Yeah.
And so this is just a part of our experience about trying to expose the Airline Academy. Is your tape ready yet?
It was connected to Bluetooth. I'm seeing if I disconnected it, it would go. It's still trying to upload. It's like 30 minutes long.
Well, just play a part of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to come up. It's doing the circle-y thing right now. I guess
maybe you could put that up separately, or maybe we could do it in another post and talk about it.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up separately after we end this. We're going to take a short break because it is lunchtime and it is Sunday. I'm sure your tummy is ready for something to eat. Let me work on this, and then I'll get back on here and let you guys see the live video. And we'll go back over, like I said, the police report, and everything that you stated in the police report is what I stated in my police report, Kim. And I don't understand why these people haven't done anything. But the next post we're going to do is about what happened in the police station and how.
It's not that they haven't done anything. It's just they haven't done anything yet.
Well, right. And we're still waiting patiently.
They did a week. So far, we know that they've done at least a week investigation.
6 days.
5-day investigation on this crime syndicate.
6 days.
5 days. They have done something. I mean, come on.
Well, I don't know. We'll talk about it the next time, but we're going to take a break for now. If you guys joined us, I appreciate you joining us. We're going to go take a break. It's talking about the Airline Academy Exposed. Everything that is stated on these videos are based off of our own experience, and we can back it up. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back.